Hey guys, welcome Musky Road Rules Podcast and Patreon. Guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. And thanks for becoming a member of the Patreon channel. Guys, we've got a lot of giveaways that we're doing. Every month we're going to do one. And this one coming up here, we're going to do one of the new double tail flaps from Bomb Squad. It's one of the new ones. They've only going to make a few of them this year, and I got my hands on one. I thought no better way to do it for people that sign up for the Patreon that they get one of these lovely dudes. So make sure you subscribe. It's real easy to do. All you got to do is go to patreon.com and search Musky Road Rules. Don't go to OnlyFans. If you go to OnlyFans and church Musky, you will not get me. You'll get a guy, but he won't be me. So go to Patreon, all right? Patreon.com and search Musky Rose. Hit become a member. It's $8 a month. That $8 a month gets you a chance to win some of these awesome baits, and you also get all this great content we're putting out here. You can when you subscribe, you get access to everything that we've done for over a year. Plenty of cool stuff to watch. And then, as always, the audio is free. If you go to your Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, any of your places where you get your podcast, you can find me on there. Tonight's podcast got a new guy on. Let me bring him up here. We got Mr. DJ Chupita. Did I say that right?
You got it.
Chupita. There we go. I was when I was practicing before you came on. I go Chalupa, Chupita. No, that's not right.
I answered all of them. So
well, you're like me. Dumb fuck. I raised my hand. So I'm ran into you at the Milwaukee Muskie show. You had a booth just down from me a little bit, and you were forced to watch my giant television and fish catches from the last couple years. And and I did have the UK basketball game.
I got to watch a little basketball. So
yeah, you got to watch a little bit of the UK basketball game because I was able to figure that out, which I was very proud of myself that I actually got that working. But no, it's how did the Milwaukee show go for you?
Went good. Attendance was way better, I thought, than last year. So it was nice. There's no snowstorm or anything, but it was good.
Cool. Yeah, no, it went. I thought it was pretty well. I thought there was quite a few people there. Man, I'm blurry. What is going on here? Hold on. There you go, folks. For you guys that like the blurry, it's even better. Now I'm not blurry, which is probably upsetting a few. The Hinterland Musky Guides. You were there. Was that your guide service booth, or were you representing like Minocqua as well?
Yep. So I was there with the guide booth, and then I've also been working with the Tourism Bureau of the Minocqua area, which covers Minocqua, Hazelhurst, Woodruff, and Arborvita. 4 small towns all in the Minocqua area, kind of nose to tail from each other. So if you're driving through, they're all right there. So I'm based out of Minocqua and been working with them the last few years, and teamed up to introduce some more people to the Minocqua area and get some people on the boat.
Sure. No, I mean, that Minocqua area was actually the first area I'd ever fished in Wisconsin was the Minocqua area. My first Wisconsin muskie actually came out of, is there an upper and lower Minocqua? Or
There's 5 or 6 lakes on the chain. So there's like Lake Minocqua, Kawagasaga, Lake Tomahawk, Mid Lake, Little Lake Tomahawk.
Yeah, that fish came out of the thoroughfare, the channel going between Minocqua and Kawagasaga.
Okay. Yep.
There, as you
Tree
come in,
right there, and
as you come out of as you come out of Kawag into Minocqua, right in there is where it came. And my buddy I was with, we were two freaking morons from Kentucky. He couldn't pronounce Kawagasaga, so he just called it kangaroo.
Well, I've heard it even worse than that over the years. So most of the locals just call it Kawaga because it's a long word. So
oh yeah, we just called it kangaroo and just called it good. But no, it was Yeah, it was pretty interesting, and that's the first time I'd ever been on a Wisconsin lake, and I'd never seen a ski jump before, and I'd
Hey, you had it
never.
all right there.
Yeah, no, it was all. We actually stayed, and I don't even know if they're there anymore. There was some like cinder block cabins right there on that thoroughfare.
Yeah,
Between
Nitschke's Resort is pretty much right there. Might have been where you were staying.
Yeah, that's where we stayed. I mean, it was. I don't know if they're still there or not. If they're
still there,
concrete. But I mean, these things ain't blowing over in a tornado. Let me tell you. And but yeah, that's where we stayed. And this would probably been back in like 97, 98.
Okay, yeah, they've been there for. They're there and still going. It's kind of funny always in Minocqua area. It's like there's a lot of mom and pop and small resorts and stuff that are still there that have been there well beyond my time. So it's kind of cool to live in a little resort town where you got small town feel, but we definitely get an influx of people in the summer, which helps out the guiding business for sure.
Is Bozaki still there?
It is. It's now called the Boathouse, and it's actually closed for almost a year to get completely renovated. So,
okay. When I was there, I met a couple of the dandiest lesbians I'd ever met in my life, and they were ready to party. Yeah. And it was funny. I Eastern Kentucky, we don't get many lesbians, and there I was like, wow, what is going on in Wisconsin?
It's always funny to tell people, I'm like, Minocqua is a very small town, but in summer it becomes a giant melting pot, which makes it a very exciting place. You don't get to see many places this far north, but the town explodes. It's definitely a tourist destination, and it's growing over the years. But it's also, like I tell people, like in the booth the last couple of weeks, it's an awesome launching pad for family vacations where you still can go fish. There's, I think 250 musky lakes within an hour drive of Minocqua. So you can send the kids to town with the wife or go shopping in that, and you can sneak out for a day of fishing, and everybody's still happy at night. Nobody got left behind. So it's a pretty cool
lesbians.
Place. And yes, if that's your thing. Although the boathouses or Bosaki's is closed now, so I'm sure they found a different place.
Thirsty Turt Whale or something.
Thirsty Whale, yep, that's there.
Another one. Yep, we were there. No lesbians. But it was
a little rowdy later at night, but it's a good place.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But no, it was it was interesting. It was a lot of fun. That was back when they used to do the Raleigh and Helen's tournaments years ago. One of the first at the time, I think it was the first like big money tournament that there was. But again, like I said, that was back late 90s. And that was, I'm dating myself there. That was a long time.
I was getting out of high school in the late 90s, so I wasn't quite into it yet at that point.
Sure. I get it. So, well, let's talk about it. What is your musky fishing history? When did you get your first fish, and how did you get into this deal?
Yeah, so I grew up Manitowoc, Green Bay area, Wisconsin, so central eastern part of the state. And my great-grandparents back in the 60s actually bought a cottage on Lake Tomahawk, which is right outside of Minocqua. It's actually on the Minocqua chain. Yep. So I grew up coming up there in my summers and that, learning how to fish and starting small and that. And I actually had a senior year project that we were going to mount a fish. That was high school class. I grew up in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin, so it's
taxidermy was not something that we had in school, but no, I mean, I came from a small school too. Our class project was to wire a building, and
we had those classes too. This one was just a little bit more fun. So
yeah, no, mine they let me wire, and when they flipped the power on, every light bulb exploded. That's when I knew that I wasn't going to be an electrician. I was really bad at that class, but anyway, your class project was mounting a fish. I love it.
Yeah, so went up and what is the most quintessential fish in northern Wisconsin. I went out. I'm like, I got to catch a walleye. So caught a nice 19.5-inch walleye. We froze it, put it on the board. And growing up, I always joke we were meat fishermen as growing up, family of farmers and that. So we didn't go after fish that didn't taste well or weren't easy to catch. It was more quantity over quality. And my grandpa one night was like, well, you want to go out and try to catch a muskie? So I was like, well, of course. I'm like, why not? And so we grabbed the biggest spinning rod we had with some 30-pound mono, probably. I couldn't even tell you what the stats are on this rod because it was probably older than me, and I think pretty much everything was at the time. But went out to the first bar. We had our fishing ski boat with no electronics, no trolling motor, no nothing, just did a wind drift. And within about 8 minutes, we put a 46 in the boat, which is actually the replica that's up there because it was my first fish and my grandpa guided me. So if you can kind of see over that corner.
I see. No, I was going to ask you about that fish up
there.
So
the story is the replica is there because we saved the fish. This is back late 90s, a little different. And I was 17 at the time. Kept it. And back in that day, there was no internet to order supplies from. So I had to do a mail order fish mold from, I couldn't even tell you who that was anymore. Ordered it. Never showed up. Needless to say, it sucked, but the fish rotted away in the high school freezer after it was scuffed out. So got rid of it. But I always said, I'm like, it was my first muskie. My grandfather's no longer around, but that fish there is the reason I am where I am. So after that, I caught a few more. It took a while to catch anything near that big again, but I ended up getting into the racing thing in the early 2000s. So I moved to North Carolina from 2004 to 2019. And I ended up working for a race team, NASCAR and IndyCar, and I was a pit crew member for a while and ended up starting to do some guiding, and that got really big into it. And you probably know a little bit about this, like North Carolina border. I did a lot of New River float trips and a whitewater raft is how I kind of started cutting my teeth again. And doing the headwater trips, and I did smallmouth and musky trips, and I really started enjoying it, and it was perfect with the racing. And then kids got older, and I convinced my wife from North Carolina that moving to Minocqua, Wisconsin would be an amazing idea with all of the snow and the cold. And so we moved up here in late 2019, and my brother-in-law, who's the other guide in Hinterland Musky Guides, was starting to do a little guiding here. And I was like, well, I really enjoyed the guiding thing. I wanted to keep going. And honestly, this is about one of the best places in the country. You can actually, guide and go and fish and be on the water every day. So we started that up late 2019. COVID was a bit interesting. So our first year wasn't all that great, but
it's always good to start it. Yeah, it's always good to start a business during the biggest pandemic we've had since the early 1900s.
Well, you know where the lows are at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always good to know the bottom.
Yeah. So it started there, and then we've been moving up ever since, and it's really been taking off, and we've been having a blast. And it's up here is probably one of the coolest areas I can ever imagine of having a chance to guide out of. I mean, it's really nice. I mean, I enjoyed guiding in North Carolina and that, but not having to watch river levels and paying a farmer $5 to go sneak through his cow fence to go dump the raft for the day. And
did you ever fish like what was it, Hungry Mother?
Oh yeah, Hungry Mother, and I always forget the other one, but they're the two little Virginia lakes you're talking about.
Yep.
Those have become a little more popular over the years because that's where everybody goes when the river blows out.
Yeah,
and they're only a couple hundred acres apiece, but there's some decent fish in those lakes. It's fun, but
I used to fish, or I have fished over in the Asheville area with some friends of mine in the Nolichucky.
Yep.
And
French Broad is
the French Broad. Yep.
And there was actually a couple lakes in North Carolina as well. There was, the Lake James, which Adger is one to fish.
Yep.
Long story short, I found out I was breaking the rules there fishing for a while because I take the boat, and it's a public landing that's privately owned, and they have a 50 horsepower rule, but it's not like a 9.9 lake. You can't have it on your boat. I always thought it was like a 9.9 lake. As long as you don't use the big motor, you're good. Well, I never got busted. So if the DNR ever listened to this one, it was not me. I wasn't out there, but
yeah.
But all there's actually those two bass in that corner actually came off of Lake Adger, and that's a 9 and a 9.5 pound largemouth when I was musky fishing. So
shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And the only other guy on the lake was a bass fisherman, and he caught 2 muskie that day.
Nice. That's about the way it works.
I was like, it always out. But yeah, so I've been up here since late 2019 and been guiding up here in the Minocqua area. So long story, longer, but yeah.
It's, it's one of those deals, though. I mean, that Minocqua, northern Wisconsin, whether northwest, northeast Wisconsin, like you were saying, the tourism up there is so great. You get such an influx of people from basically everywhere. The client base is really good in those areas, and you're able to pick up a lot of business. I've always said that I thought those were great areas to work. As far as like getting customers and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yes.
What you didn't say, what did you catch that first fish on?
That first fish came on a suic, reeled completely wrong.
Hey.
There's no wrong way to work a suic, and I can tell you that is the quintessential epitome of there's no wrong way to reel in a suic. So.
You're just reeling it in?
I was just reeling it in and bouncing out of weeds, so I was getting more frustrated that I was getting in the weeds and that. Like I said, when I was younger, we didn't fish for muskie. It was the stuff I always remember as a kid, you go to the bait shop and they'd be in the cooler. I'm a little old. I'm old enough to remember them in the coolers, but also at the age where I can remember when we started, not putting them in the cooler. So
yeah, no, I totally get it. I remember all that myself.
But it was cool when you were a kid to go see them. I mean, that was the best part of the weekend, to go to the bait shop and go see the giant fish under ice. So.
Yeah, to see what had been caught. I totally get that. So let's talk a little bit here. You're fishing that northeast Wisconsin area, and everything. And you sent me. I had you send me some bait pictures here, maybe some mods and stuff that you've done. We'll start out here with one of when I got into musky fishing. So this would have been like in 92, 93 when I caught my first one, and was totally hooked on it and stuff. This bait just totally fascinated me, and I don't know why. There's no reason for it to.
I'm guessing you know which one that one is. So I don't have to see the picture yet, but
but it's actually, I don't know if you want the hog wobbler.
Yeah.
That bait was just, and I don't know why. I don't know why I was so fascinated by it, but I had to get one. So I had Raleigh and Helen's catalog. I'd saved my money up, and I gotta have a hog wobbler, and I got it, and I don't know what I was expecting, but yeah, I'm like, well, here we go. And I threw it, and didn't catch much on it at first, but it became it's still to this day one of my favorite lures, as far as like, I caught so many big fish in Minnesota on these things, and especially the husky size one.
Yeah.
But the smaller one like this, I've done well on as well here. Obviously, you must like it. What can you say about it?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's definitely an old school bait. Like, I've got the one here in my hand. Flap tails have become really big, and I do use flap tails. Like the MK65 is an awesome bait that I've been using for a while. But for a slow creeper style bait that's consistent out of the box, it's hard to beat these. But like I said to you when we were talking earlier, the problem with a hog wobbler is they can be painfully slow to reel. Otherwise, they blow out.
Sure.
So I'm not the creator of this mod by any means, but I enjoy it. So this one's a regular size. I do this with the husky one as well. The husky blade is a trick to find, but so what I do is on the regular one, this has actually got a husky lip put onto it. So you unscrew it.
What size blade is that? Do you know?
On the front of this thing, You're asking the wrong guy. It's whatever the husky hog wobbler has. Because how I do it is I usually buy them in pairs. I buy a husky and I'll buy a regular one, and I take the blade off, the front lip off of the husky, put it directly on the other one, and then getting the other one. Last time I bought like 5 or 6 from Lure Parts online, I think it was. I can't remember where. They make one even bigger than that's on the husky, so you can do this same thing with the husky. It's the biggest lip I've ever seen for the husky one, and this is just a husky. So I don't know the sizes. I mean, back in the day,
I always assumed the husky was like a number 9 blade.
So that's what's on this one then. This would be a number 9, and there is one bigger even that comes on the husky. 10, 11, I'm not sure. But I've never seen a bigger one. But the biggest reason we put that bigger blade on the front is you can double the speed on this thing without it blowing out.
Okay.
It'll pull down and it'll go. So you don't have to, Yeah, sometimes they want them slow, but the biggest thing on this is you can use this as a bait that you can use it almost like a topwater bait, like a search bait, instead of just using that painfully slow on it. So we run that, and then I also just started putting these small, this has got a Colorado blade on it. I put whatever on it, and it's just literally this thing sounds like a sack of nickels when it's reeling through the water. It's popping, clinging, tanging. But the biggest thing that I've done is upsizing that blade on this thing to make it go faster. So you're not so painfully slow on that. But yeah, definitely a forgotten about bait. I still see a lot of people buy them in northern Wisconsin. I don't know about using them, but
yeah,
client bait as well. When you don't want to just have to reel a plop bait all the time, when you want something a little different. I really like walk the dog baits, but there's sometimes not enough time in the end of the evening to get a client or somebody who's never used one before. It's just something different and a lot cheaper than a lot of the custom creepers that are out there nowadays that you can go.
No, those the hog wobbler, I love it, man. I've caught in the early Mille Lacs days. That was what we caught. A lot of really big fish on. A lot of fish near 40 pounds came on hog wobblers, the husky one especially.
Yeah.
And right at dark or just after dark, those baits were really something. Them and the globes came on a little bit later, but no, those hog wobblers, man, those things were pretty awesome. There was the guys out there. I cannot remember their names. They're from Minnesota. Oh, it drives me crazy. I think his name was Eric. They trolled those after dark.
I can see that. Like I said, especially if you upsize that bill on it, you'd be surprised how much faster you can go. And I've actually seen one. I have one like it, and it's a secret on a secret. It's not an easy mod. Is guys will actually take this back piece here, the V, and actually take it apart and cut that flat. And then it'll actually open up the wobble even more, so it can't spin out even easier, because then it's got all the room to work even faster. That one takes a little bit of talent, because then you got to re-drill and get the center hole back. But
yeah, I'm not that talented.
Yeah, I'm not either. I had somebody else do that for me. So
there you go.
That's why I didn't bring that one. I was like, I couldn't tell you how to do it. You can whack it, drill a hole, and it might work, it might not.
I totally get it. This one here you showed me, I thought was pretty interesting. I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to come back to this, and then there we go. The M9, which the Mimic 9 you said last year was a great bait for you.
Yeah.
And I like this, how you're changing the blade color. This is something that I have done this. And it has worked for me. I just want to hear how you're doing it, but go ahead and kind of explain this one.
So Mimic 9, as you can see, the orange one there, it's a standard blade. The yellow blade here is actually a gold blade. This is actually from my last trip in Canada Lake of the Woods. The other guy in the boat had finally caught 3-to-1, 4-to-1, and I didn't have the right color blade. So you can get this off of Amazon now, but being in the racing industry for 15 years or so, I got this years ago. It's literally the wrap people wrap their cars with. So it's high-end tape. It's super sticky. All I do is I cut out, let's just say, so if the blade's there, I'll cut out like a little bit bigger around the whole thing. I stick it on. It stretches really easy because it's actually like a vinyl stretching. And I just take an X-Acto knife or a razor blade, cut around it, and then boom. Do
you ever have it like ripple on the edges of the blade?
No, like this stuff is made by 3M. I'm sure you can get really, really cheap stuff that probably gets water, but the trick is if you get it on there and pull it and stick it down tight, I've never had it come off ever or lip up.
Okay.
And it's really forgiving because it's like a vinyl. You can stretch it. So I stretch the heck out of it. It's not expensive because it's funny because this actually started in my North Carolina days when I couldn't just go to a store and buy bucktails.
Mm-hmm.
So if there was a blade color that was going, I started using this. Also, for anybody who's going to Canada, this is the easiest way to cut down on baits in a box, or if your buddy's beating one, and they make every color. I carry chartreuse, orange, and green. Those are like the three. If I don't have it in the standard, it's a super cheap, ineffective way. I mean, and if this blade really works well, you can always buy it in that color and have it for later, but it's a nice on the fly. We actually was a group of guys up in Canada, I want to say 3 years ago I was with, and I moved about 5 or 6 fish on a double 10, but it was orange and gold blade, and nobody had that combination, but I had the orange tape, and we put it on there the next night. He caught a 49. So I was like,
nice.
Now, dumb luck or that, but it's a cheap, easy fix. Like I said, I looked a couple of years ago and somebody was asking about it. You can buy it on Amazon. Mm-hmm. It's now that cars are wrapped so many times. It's all it is it's vehicle decal wrap. I mean, we used to wrap the race cars in it. So those are colors from whatever car that I just kept remnants of. But it's a cool, easy trick. Instead of having to, in Canada, sometimes when you're going in for a week, and especially if you have a boat in, carrying 150 bucktails with you, you can cut down. Or if you're on the woods, or even in northern Wisconsin, you're getting your butt kicked by your buddy and you can switch a blade color. Sometimes that helps out a bunch.
Sure. No, I like that. Because I've done that with some of the witchcraft tape. The problem with the witchcraft tape, I don't think we can pull it like what you're saying.
No, this stuff, you can stretch the heck out of it. Like you can almost, I'd say, pull it a quarter to 5/16 of an inch further. So like I'll pull it down over it and then cut it so it's shrunk tight. And if you're really worried about it, you can take your lighter or your mini torch and just kind of go over it to soften it up and just push it down.
Yeah, see, that's I like that better. Like I said, the witchcraft tape that I've used, it bubbles on the edges and it's really bad to peel.
Yeah, and that stuff, I will say too, is if you want to take that stuff off, it comes off in one piece, no residue whatsoever. So it doesn't ruin the bucktail. So if you're like, want to go right back, it comes off easy. So
nice. I like it. That's a good little hack right there. I definitely like that. And then you got the Mr. Go back to here, and we got our Mr. Tubo here. This looks like one of the 7.5.
Yeah, tubes. 7.5. I like to run a lot of the 7.5 tubes up here, just a little bit more. Later fall, and then I'll run with the other ones. I mean, there's times where the big ones work better, but Mr. Bill from Slammer Tackle came out with these, I believe, late last year. It might have been early last year, but I actually have one that's unrigged. He made these tails to go on to any bait you want, but it works really good on a tube, and it's actually slotted. I don't have a bear hook, but you actually take the nose of the hook, you push it up through.
Hold it up a little bit.
I'm dropping one bait as I'm talking with the other. So it's got this notch in it.
Sure.
You can see the notch. Mm-hmm. So you actually take which would be the eyelid of the hook, trying to not do this with my fingers, and you push it up through to where you want, and then you just pull this down and it slips over the other barb of the hook. So if you look, you're not having to manipulate. I'm trying to get here to the camera where I can get the right angle. If you can see, all 3 hooks are sticking through that, and you're not hanging one through.
Sure.
And it hangs on there. And he sells these things, and it's just a great different addition than, some guys got blades, some guys are putting grub tails and that. This is a quick, easy, I think it took me like 4 seconds to put that on. And the nice thing is it comes extended. As you can see, I cut a chunk of it off because that's just the way it fit on the hook. You just cut the top of it, end of it off.
And depending on what hook you use back there, I mean, if it's got a longer shank, it's going to cover it up.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is like this one's, I think, is actually just a stock hook that comes on it. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing, I don't think this is too much news to a lot of people, but on most of my tubes, I upgrade everything to a 7/0 in the front. Just a bigger hook that covers it. Yeah, tubes squeeze in that, but sometimes it's nice to have, as you can see, kind of trying to get it up here. You can see that the hook goes outside of the tube.
Yep.
And I did not come up with that. Somebody told me that, and I've moved up to those, and I can't say that I've decreased hook sets. I would say they're a little bit better. It's just And those I think are like must-add 7/0. Those some you get those bigger hooks. There's not a lot of availability in the bigger ones, but those seem to work pretty good.
No, they're a nice hook. They're also thin shanked or thin wired, so they're easier to penetrate a fish too. Is what I like about that.
But yeah, there's a million ways to adjust a tube. I just thought that was kind of something easy and different, and it's easy to pop off. And the nice thing is with those, the way it pops off that hook, you can take it off. You don't destroy the grub tail or whatever. You can just put it right back on or take it off, or you can just swap the hook out.
Sure.
Whatever you want to do to have that. But it's kind of a nice little addition.
Mm-hmm. No, it looks great. And then you've got here the last dude is some of the Bulldog.
Those are just like some not many mods on those so much to speak, but those are just more or less top baits that I've had at the last, I don't know. Well, the top one's like the Pit Bull Bulldog, which has been great. The old school walleye has always been a great color in the Northwoods. It's got that gold. It's got that orange for a little bit if it's dirtier water. And then I laugh, but every year it seems like one of my top producing client baits is the shallow 7. I think it's like 7.5 inch, the standard size shallow swimming dog. It's just a great bait, and it's as easy as cast and retrieve. I've played around with pull paws and ripping them and putting blades on them. Seems like for me, the best thing to do is put it on the end of the line, cast it out, and reel it in.
So those little dudes there, I mean, are you using the swimming dog as like a complement to like bucktails and stuff?
And it can be one of those things too. If we're seeing fish come in on bucktails and they're just not committing, they're lazy follows, or they're just not. And it's that they're interested enough that the speed is there. And it's not like they're just following way slow and way behind. It's like, well, what's going on? So that's where that swimming dog will come in. And sometimes too, if you've got a couple guys in the boat where you're like, okay, we're going to try to cover some water quick. It's a great, like you said, complementary bait. If we're going to cover water, the fish have been active. Mm-hmm. You can keep up and you can cover water quick, but you're not giving in to 2 bucktails. You start getting into the rubber game where you're pull pausing and that, you got to slow that bait down. You got to slow the boat down a lot to keep up with the guy in the back. Otherwise, you're fighting the guy in the front is going, and the guy in the back, the bait's behind the boat before he even gets in. So
sure. No, I totally get it. I mean, it's one of those deals that where do you see, for you in that area of Wisconsin where you're fishing, rubber baits, the soft plastics, when do you start seeing those work good for you? Is that something that you are right off the bat all the way through the year? Or is it
I'll say, the shallower versions of like the Bulldogs and that with a pro harness, or the shallow swimming dogs, I will start using early. I wouldn't say right off the bat. I'm usually early season. I'm actually doing a lot more pull paws, like your twitch baits and stuff like that, where as the water warms up, I have no problem throwing those because they're not big baits. They're still not in that giant class, and you can still, like a shallow swimming dog, you can slow roll that thing just as easy as speed it up. And then I like the shallow Bulldogs with like the pro harness in it, where it'll actually hop more. I have no problem, especially once that water warms up a little bit and those fish are feeling better and they can kind of slide out of the tight weeds and that, where you can start to get them. Or on a cold front where, they might slide off into the edge of the weeds where they're just trying to find that warm water. That's where the shallower versions where they're not dropping quite so fast. They got that little bit of extended hang time because those fish aren't going to be, quite so active to be just chasing those things. They're going to kind of want that easy meal.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally get it, man. No, they definitely are an interesting bait. And they also, like I said, for me, provide that complement to any other straight retrieve lure, especially if the fish are finicky or acting like total dickheads.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't like them because there's no input. Mm-hmm.
There's
you don't feel it shake like a bucktail. You're not ripping it, pausing it. They're kind of like, it's almost like, like a hog wobbler or a flap tail. It's like, I just cast it out and real slow. This is the boringest day of my life. But That's why they work.
Yeah, and it's kind of like it's like guys that they ask me a lot. I have a lot of guys ask me about dying dogs, the jerk baits, and I'm like, well, I go from the top looking down at it, you can't really see the action the bait has, but from the side, that when you jerk it forward, that undulation and that tail, that thing is really whipping back there, and does a lot of movement. So a lot of this stuff too, you just got to get confidence in. I mean, it's the biggest thing is you're going to catch fish on what you throw. And once you get confidence in something, it's going to definitely help you out towards the end there. Well, let's look at some fish here. Shit, you sent me some pictures. Let's see what we got. We got this guy here. Now, where is that? Is that a northern Wisconsin fish?
That's a northern Wisconsin. That one's just over 46 or so.
Okay.
That's a start of a good hot spell. We always seem to have a really good run up here. It seems like when the late June to early July, we get really hot days. The water up here is nowhere near. We're talking like 72 to 73 degree water, but get a few hot days where it's like in the 80s, hot, humid in that. And that fish right there, that one was on a Ninja tube right there, coming off right on a weed edge, just sliding up. And that's on a pretty high pressured body of water, and that fish didn't have a blemish on it. So that's one of those fish that probably doesn't see a lot of people throughout the year. It stays off, but then there's those few times, like I said, that late June to early July, we get those first really like hot streaks where it's multiple days and that lake really warms up a few degrees, and that's where these fish will start to show themselves for the first time. It seems like you can always find them, but it just seems like that heat moves up and their metabolism really starts to get ramping up, and fish get a lot more active.
And this is during a time of year where you're really targeting with soft plastics, the weed edges. Has been really good for you.
Yeah, that one came off. I think the boat was sitting in like 24 feet of water and was pretty much casting 2 pumps into the weeds and then off to the weed edge, and I think it hit on the 3rd pump. So it was pretty much sitting on the weed edge off the break, just waiting.
All right. Well, is it, and then up there, the two things that I've noticed that where you have the options, you've got your dark water and your clear water. Are you more of a dark water guy, clear water guy, or does it just depend on what's happening?
I like them all. I mean, I like to fish. I mean, that's on, you can see what the background looks like, and you can see barely in the background, there's no wind, and that is a clear body of water. Okay. So we have so many lakes. I usually guide on anywhere from like 25 to 30 different lakes a year up here. Yeah, I mean, there's your stained body of waters, on sunny days and calm days can help. But it's over the years, I kind of got my patterns of like certain times of the year, these lakes seem to go off in that. But I mean, I fish clear, green, brown, black water. I mean, I've learned at first I used to use it as a crutch for like, oh, it's sunny out, we're going to stained water, and
sure.
It's overcast and windy, we're going to clear. But I've learned over the years, it's like you get confidence over time. It's like I never tell anybody that a clear, calm day on clear water doesn't mean that we're not going to catch a big fish. And I mean, this one here, it's getting close to evening on this one, but there wasn't a cloud in the sky all day. So those fish weren't.
I mean, the bottom line is they got to eat.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that's one of the things there. And then you got me this pick here. Is this, did you say this was at the Woods?
Yep, that was at the Woods this year. That's the reason that blade that I showed you has got chartreuse on it, because after everybody else kept catching, the guy in the front of the boat was running one for a while, and I was getting my butt kicked. I wasn't even seeing fish, and I was like, well, you're just first bait through. And I'm like, well, I'm put it on. And that was like, I think about 10 casts after I put that one on. I was like, okay. I got to pick his pocket. He missed one. So it was nice to see a fish. But that's where I was like saying that Mimic 9, it's like in guiding, and as well as I do, it's almost like suicide to have everybody casting the same bait in the boat.
Sure.
But there are times where, and this was one of those very few times where it was like, they weren't going. I mean, I even tried double blades. I was using rubber. I was using top water. I was trying everything. And it was just, I would see one here, see one there. And it was just the guy in the front of the boat. Which was my brother-in-law, so I didn't really feel too bad. But like
Screw 'em.
I was like, I'm like, screw it, I'm joining the game, and it didn't take long.
Sure.
But that was, like I said, when we were fishing, it was that Mimic 9 that it was on fire up in Lake of the Woods. I mean, we were up there for 5 days, and if we didn't see a fish every hour on the hour, we were doing something wrong. And I've been up there many a times where it's been nowhere near that. So also the reason that I decided to switch to that, because I'm like, I know as fast as it's going good, it could turn off at any moment, and I didn't want to be I didn't want to be there without any fun. So
didn't want to be that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I get that. And then here you're telling me this is your dad?
Yeah, that's my old man with his biggest muskie ever caught. And that one's kind of a cool one because that's actually a side scan fish.
Okay.
We were cruising by looking at stuff, and like all of a sudden it was like, boom, there's a fish. And I'm like, this, and I was telling my dad was pretty excited. He's like, oh, this is in the bag. We've got it figured out. And I'm like, this happens about 25% of the time that we'll even get to see this fish. All of this, with my success rate over the years on side scan, it's about where I feel like I've been. And it was one cast and caught. So that was pretty cool.
What did you get that on?
That one was actually on a small, I want to say that was actually on a cob. Not a cob. Crane. Crane. There we go. I've got to remember my Southern bait builders here. I'm working through them all here at the one time.
Yep.
Yeah, it was because it was shallow water when we seated there, sitting right on the edge of the weeds. And my dad, he's, like I said, I grew up in a long line of meat fishermen. So for him, it was like we needed to get something that he could work through there. And it was like 2 or 3 pumps on the first one and ate it. So
good.
It was pretty cool to get to see him catch his biggest muskie ever. And the funny thing is like the day before we had beat it, but that one's a lot better. That's like a 42, I think, or something like that. So kind of a cool thing to have it come full circle on a dad. You know, most guys, their dads, you know, take a fishing. That's kind of how they get into it. So to have him to come full circle and guide him onto a fish, you know, it was kind of cool.
No, that's awesome. Well, good deal, man. Well, hell, I'm glad we had a chance to talk, and hopefully we can do it again sometime. How can somebody get a hold of you if they want to come fishing with you?
Yeah, so I got multiple ways. First one is my phone number. It's area code 704-658-5230. Otherwise, we've got a website, Hinterland Guides, just like it's spelt on there on the screen. Got a website. We also got Facebook, Instagram. I'm also going to be at the Minnesota show this weekend running the Stealth Tackle booth because John's going to Pennsylvania.
Yep.
And then I'll be in Waters Meet. They have a show up there, a one-day one for to kind of build knowledge on invasive species. And then Wausau, I'll be in the Team Rhino booth for St. Croix.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm all over the place.
Hey, man, I know the game. I've done it a lot, so I get it. That's pretty awesome. Well, hey, I'm glad I ran into you there in Milwaukee. It was good. I always, if you're in my row, a lot of times you'll end up on the podcast because I got to talk to people.
That's good. That's good to know. I didn't even get to choose that. I just got stuck next to Stealth Tackle because I was soloing it at the booth. So I was like, I need somebody to help in case I had to run out. So
Yep. And I had Smitty right across from me.
they're actually my neighbors, which is the craziest thing.
Oh my gosh.
I live a whole quarter mile away from them, so I get to see them on a regular basis.
I bought a lot of Smitty baits because I said, if you're across from me, baby, I'm going to be buying because I'll eventually talk myself into buying, you know what, I'd get something on that. And
that's why I was kind of glad to see you across from me because I didn't have to buy anything, so you didn't have a bunch of baits hanging out. So I was good.
Oh yeah, no, I'm one of those. I'm definitely one of those. I got to get Jake and Russ on here again. I asked Jake. I'm on. Now is Russ got good internet? And he goes, we do. I go, okay.
I was saying, I know they do. I don't know, Russ. I laugh because I've waved at Russ many a times going past my driveway, and I've never gotten waved back. And Jake always says, he's like, he doesn't see anybody. I was like, well, good to know. I won't step out in the road.
Yep. There you go. But, all right. Well, hey, DJ, I hope to do this again sometime. It was a pleasure. And guys, here at the end, we got. If you're looking at picking up some new Musky stuff, maybe think about Thorn Brothers. You can go to their website at thornbros.com. It's got a ton of electronics, rods. I've been using their rods for a while now. Really, really like them. Like I said, with Fish Electronics, I mean, they are my phone a friend when it comes to when I break shit, which is often. And they're always there to help me out. And also, if you're looking for getting a new rain gear or something like that, and if you're like me, you're too fat to wear Sims, check out Gill products. Good stuff there. I tell you what, they keep you dry. I've been wearing their rain suits the last couple of years, and they do a hell of a job. DJ, it was a pleasure, and just hold on here for me, okay?
All right. Thanks, Greg.